All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Tellor Core Chat. Uh, September 8th already.
I'm flying.
Yeah, it's fun. So, uh, obviously, exciting week. Not as not as happy of a week as last time, price wise, but
That's true.
development wise, there's been a lot of announcements. We've been doing a lot of work. Definitely been really busy, and we're going to get into it. So, first, the big news of the week. So we delayed the V2. If you guys saw Brenda's message on a lot of the channels, we have been testing on the Rinkeby network now for 2 weeks, and we discovered something that we did not think could happen, but it did. So it was not a critical bug. All that happened was in V2, one of the new features is that we automatically, there's no more, miners don't need to add a tip to automatically to get a new challenge. If there's no tips that are added, or even it will always select a new challenge, and that's a cool feature. But what had happened some of the times is that we had duplicate request IDs. So if you remember, we're going to an array of 5, like the next block will be IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of the times it was possible for 2 of, for instance, IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 to happen. And it's sort of pointless. You don't need people putting on-chain, putting data on twice. So we didn't, it was very rare. I think it's happened like twice whenever we were really trying to make it happen on the Rinkeby network. But we don't want people to have to ever waste gas to do that. So we cleaned it up, fixed it. We also did a little bit of gas golfing. So you guys can thank JG for that. Reduced a little bit of the gas costs for some of the things. So hopefully that'll make a little bit of a difference. I know we've had some issues with, I think all of Ethereum has had some issues with gas, but Tellor is kind of one of the more expensive protocols to run, and yeah, there's no easy way around it. I mean, gas prices have been awful, but hopefully this small fix will give us a little bit more room. Some of the other things, if you are a miner, we will be pushing a new release. So the official V2 code for the miner will be pushing, I'll be pushing that tomorrow. So you guys can go and download it at any time. Start testing out. You can obviously go test it on Rinkeby. So the Rinkeby contracts are already upgraded. The mainnet contracts are not upgraded. So right now the way that the miner works is once the upgrade happens, then they'll switch over. So like if you download this V2 miner, it'll just automatically pick up the change on mainnet. You won't have to do anything else. But obviously if you like test it out on Rinkeby, it'll feel a little bit different because Rinkby's already on V2. It's not an old contract waiting to be upgraded. So there will be a little bit of difference there. So pay attention to that. Also, we had some disputes this weekend. So we have to kind of address those. So Shepherd Blue, the runner or the owner and operator of Tellor Pool. Obviously, Tellor Pool is actually not run by Tellor, the team. It's a private entity. But he has kind of posted about this a lot in the Discord channel. He's very responsive there. Tellor Pool's been great for us, but they had 2 disputes this past weekend. So what happened, Ample USD was requested Saturday night around 8 p.m., I think, when they usually upgrade. And yeah, the Tellor Pool submitted a value of 1. And instantly he knew, and I also knew what had happened. So whenever you can actually manually enter values for things. So a lot of times, like whenever we're testing entering values on Rinkeby, or if you don't want to have to wait for Ample for the 24-hour cycle because you need a 24 hours of your miner running because you need a 24-hour average. So you can just manually enter in, and usually you just manually enter in the number 1. which is what he did. And then so there was sort of an issue where it wasn't quite, it was test code running on mainnet, and it caused some disputes. And almost instantly somebody caught him and disputed him, which is great. I mean, it shows, to be honest, it's how the system should work. The incentives are proper, that we remove bad values from the system very, very quickly. Anyway, we're in contact with him. It's obviously an awful situation because he gets slashed. But we're continuing to talk with him, and that's what happened. So it wasn't like a malicious attack on the network or anything like that. And there were actually 5 other disputes. So this one is actually more confusing. So if people are looking at it, somebody disputed 5 Ampleforth values. And all of the 5 values were correct. So I don't know why they did it. Nobody has reached out to me about it. So whoever that is, whoever spent the dispute fee on those 5 values is going to lose their dispute fee, which is a whole lot of money. Some potential explanations. It could be maybe the guy who was mining those self-disputed themselves. So they could have just tried to, they have automated software and then they just disputed themselves. Maybe because the self-disputing software didn't work. Maybe they had some auto disputer running that wasn't working quite properly, and in which case they'll lose their dispute fee. Either way, I don't know. I know as much as you guys do on those 5. But either way, I don't know who the miner or the disputer
if you're
was.
watching, reach out to us. We're curious.
Yes. So anyway, so those were kind of the big events over the weekend, and yeah, happy to really answer any questions if you guys have them. So now, any other updates, things coming up? So V2, 2 weeks from today, 24th, 20 something. So yeah, 2 weeks. So pay attention. We obviously have another community call in between now and then, and we'll give you some more updates. But if you're obviously, so somebody just asked a question, does upgrading V2 impact any dApps using V1? So it does not. So if you are using Tellor, nothing will change. So all of the reader, it's basically just the data will get on chain a little bit faster for you. Yeah, no change for anybody actually using the process. So
pretty nice. So about the V2, are we saying an official date?
I mean, we just delayed, so I feel like official dates
okay.
are like,
all right.
We'll
call it Tellor official.
Yeah, crypto official.
Crypto official.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't foresee anything else happening, but then you never want to say that in crypto. We really try to be good about dates. Yeah. Like I know it's so annoying, like whenever projects say they're going to do something and then 6 months later it isn't done. It really gives a bad vibe about the projects, and that's one of the reasons we try not to give specific dates on things. But as far as we're being transparent with you guys, we're really trying to push this out quickly. We just want to make sure that we do things the right way and that we test our code.
Yeah, I think part of us wanted it to be a situation where you guys just woke up one day and V2 is launched. But because we have miners and we have to be transparent and we want to help, transition the process, you guys have to be aware of these things. And so, barring any other situations where we look at each other and we say, you know what, it's probably worth it if we delay it 4 days or whatever it is to do this one thing. But you guys are just, hopefully by now you guys trust in our sort of, our judgment about those things. And so as of right now, we're very hopeful that it'll be 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from whenever.
Tomorrow.
Yes. All right, let's jump into the questions. Will there be token holder voting on proposals soon?
Yes.
On upgrade proposals he's referring to. Very soon.
So I think the current plan, so right now, as you guys know, we have the ability to upgrade without your consent.
It just sounds so terrible that
Yes,
way, but
I know.
that's the truth. It's what an admin key
it
does.
is. We're going to be throwing that away. So we'll upgrade to V2 and then throw that away. Probably like a week after, just to make sure that nothing completely breaks with V2.
And when he says throw that away, I mean, we literally destroy our ability to do that.
Yeah, and then it goes into the pure contract governance, which is a week-long vote. And then we'll probably, I honestly want to push through some small upgrade just to almost test out the voting system and get you guys thinking about voting a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say like in a month or so, stay tuned. We'll want you guys to vote on something.
Make us proud.
Yes.
Participate.
Please. Well, the contract, you actually need a 10% quorum to upgrade.
Yep.
So like we're going to be hitting you guys up to vote because like
Sure.
we actually can't
You
even
don't have 10%.
We don't even have 10%. So we'll need your guys' help. So
it's cool, but scary. We have faith though. I see the community growing, and I was wondering what kind of potential market cap a Tellor could capture if successful. I mean, I was feeling very confident last week with my coin market cap comments, but
yeah, well, I mean, if you assume Bitcoin is the world money at 20 trillion and
fair assumption, right?
And Ethereum is 5 trillion, then we're obviously up there in the hundreds of billions, I think.
Yeah.
So
it's just simple math, guys.
Yeah.
The dispute cost should be 50% of the staked amount. Therefore, when the dispute is settled, 50% of the fee is burnt, and either A, the disputer gets back their fee, and maybe a small bonus as well, or B, the disputer fee is burnt if the staker is the winner. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's really tough. You know, I was talking about this a little bit in the Discord channel this morning. So the dispute fee, you need a dispute fee. So people have talked like, why do you need a dispute fee? The reason you need a dispute fee is because somebody could just pay that dispute fee over and over again and spam the whole network. So you could just remove every value that comes through Tellor by just paying the dispute fee, and that would be the cost to censor the network. We don't want that.
Nope.
So you need a nice, robust dispute fee. And that's why the cost to dispute is actually tied to the number of miners in the system. So you can't kick all the miners off and censor them. And as far as incentivizing them, you want to make sure that they're incentivized to do it. Obviously, you could give some of the reward, burn it or donate it to charity or something like that. But one of the cool things about the system, if you don't burn it, is that miners can actually self-censor themselves. So you can just self-dispute yourself. If you see, oh man, I'm submitting a bad value, or I did submit a bad value, you can take it off yourself without a penalty, which is what we want.
We encourage that.
We encourage you to be the first person to dispute yourself if a bad value gets through. And yeah, so if you burn half of their stake every time that happens, they're not as likely to do that. So that was some of the thoughts. You know, maybe in the future we'll burn. Maybe I could see maybe like a small portion just to like slap on the wrist, like don't do that, like correct yourselves. But you know, ideally you want almost the incentives to land correctly.
Yep. But this is something that somebody could propose in the future.
Sure.
Write up a proposal, and hopefully it becomes a robust discussion amongst the community members, and we all will get to decide what is the way forward. So, should we be worried about Tellor miner centralization? Dune Analytics is showing a big drop in miner count recently.
I mean, we go through this every 2 months.
About it.
It's like we have like centralized mining that's a different person every month. I feel like it's so with V2 it's going to help a little bit. So we limit the number of rewards each address can get because you can only submit once every 15 minutes. So if there is more centralization, they're going to have a lot more at stake. So I think that's going to help a lot. And then beyond that, you know, I don't think miner centralization is really a Tellor problem. This is an Ethereum problem. This is a Bitcoin problem.
Right.
Miner centralization mainly across various big pools happens.
And as long as incentives are aligned, then
Yeah, and that's why you want to make it so that way the real security of our network actually lies in the staking and the dispute process. So the proof of work mining, even if it is completely centralized, as long as the voting and the dispute process is distributed amongst TRB holders, they don't hold that much control.
Right.
So,
what are your thoughts on crypto projects hitting deadlines so they retain their investors and momentum?
I mean, we just talked we like to, but it's not to maintain investors and momentum.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from, and we've talked about this before, is from the ICO era when a lot of projects had to make a lot of deadlines in their roadmap, was their sort of sales pitch to get investors. And so, of course, there's going to be a ton of pressure for them to make good on all these promises they've made because they just raised millions and millions of dollars on these lists of deadlines. So, we didn't want to play that game, and we still don't. So,
a lot of times you can get into the habit of you just need to put out an update and more timelines and hype, and it's just these constant announcements of what we're going to do, what we're meeting, and there isn't any actual progress. Like it's almost these meaningless deadlines and things like that people are meeting. So it's best to kind of just build good products and get them out the door.
Yeah, I mean, and from our perspective, anything that we do or say or hint that we might do or even give a deadline about, like, we don't do it to fuel speculation. That's like a downside, I think. So anyway, I like TRB. Thank you. Why does TRB use checkpoints? Is that the reason why the fees for sending TRB are higher?
Yes. So for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, every time you transfer a Tellor token, we actually keep track of how many Tellor tokens you hold at every block. So whenever you transfer, we actually know your previous balance of TRB as well. And the reason this is actually for voting. So whenever you vote on Tellor, so whenever a vote is initiated, the voting is your Tellor balance when that vote is initiated. And the reason you do that versus just like how many are in your wallet at a given time is because you don't want people to vote, send their coins to another address and vote again. You need to sort of have a snapshot block. So we use a pattern, it's called like the mini-me token or checkpoints. And you checkpoint every time you transfer a token, and it does make it a little bit more expensive to send your token, but we also know what your balance is.
Yeah. We do everything for a good reason. At least we try to. So why did the market crash recently? What are our theories? We had some conspiracy theories last week.
Yeah.
Well, that was more about gas fees.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's if you don't know why it went up that high, you probably don't know why it's going to go down. It's just a lot of irrationality in the space that leads things.
I'll tell you why it crashed. It's because I had an old high school friend call me to ask, who asked me how to set up his Coinbase account and buy crypto. That's a telltale sign. Same thing was happening in 2017.
Yeah.
So for the sake of transparency, I think the community needs clarification on the status of the attack on Tellor Pool and the drama of the dispute in the Ample USD.
The trauma.
The drama.
Oh, drama. Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, okay. What are your thoughts on aggregators, DEX aggregators, yield aggregators, etc.? Will they grow in importance? Well, you'd think that.
Yeah.
Well, so they would, I guess DEX aggregators came into existence because they had such low liquidity. They needed to aggregate to get some, but as liquidity grows, wouldn't the need for the aggregation lower in theory?
And but I think liquidity is kind of fungible. So I think the way that it'll work in the future is you'll have just like your favorite front end. and where it pulls liquidity from, like whether it's Uniswap or SushiSwap or some other IDEX or wherever, like it'll sort of go do that for you and figure out on the back end. So you don't have to pay anything. Because I think right now, especially, there's a lot of games being played where liquidity is going to go to be where it's being paid the most, yield farming wise or whatever. So, liquidity can move from one platform to another, and as long as like the people running it sort of shop around, then you'll be good.
Okay, here's a good one. Can you riff on crypto and hypercapitalism? Good one for you. Example, most DeFi protocols will compete profits away. Good one.
Yeah, so this was, I had done some rants on Twitter on this as well. Whenever you have a protocol that you can fork, it's really hard to sort of make a profit on it. So if you assume like a Uniswap or something like that, or even like the old great example is the old relayers for 0x. So the idea was that you would start a business, and then anytime you have like a fully open source, anybody can start one of these kind of things. The way that you would make money is you would charge a fee on it. Well, guess what? You probably aren't going to be able to charge a fee on it because somebody else can launch it without a fee. Or if you charge you can charge maybe a minimal fee just to cover your expenses. But if you try and charge more of a fee, you're going to get forked away. So it's
just
kind
like
of
with the dev share.
Exactly. That's why I call it like hyper-capitalism, because usually like in normal businesses, there's like startup costs. But with this kind of thing, there's no startup costs. It's like, the gas to deploy something and then a little bit of marketing. So it's like hyper-capitalism, and that you can just instantly, as soon as somebody has some sort of profit, anybody else can compete it away. And that's what you're seeing. And a lot of times even you see, so VCs and these token models, what they're coming in and doing is they're saying like, hey, we're going to subsidize it. So rather than you needing to charge a fee, you can actually give users money to come and use your protocol. And what they're hoping to do is, this is kind of like, the Facebook model, where you just get so many users and so much that you like have some sort of moat and you capture people. And they love your product so much that even whenever they can't pay you the fee anymore, you're going to stay with them, and they'll be able to charge that monopoly rent and make money. But I don't think it's going to work that way. I think people are just going to leave. Yeah. And
if you can keep people in that mode, then you've made something great, and you sort of earn that fee.
Yeah, but that's kind of where we're at right now, is this, same with like, you saw it with like Uber too. It was like VC funding. Basically, you can undercut all the cab companies, and they're hoping that they can grow so big and so fast that by the time they actually have to charge the rate that they need to pay their employees properly and to not subsidize everything, you'll be so attached to your Uber app, and all the cab companies will be out of business. So it's sort of like predatory funding 101. But I don't know if it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes.
Well, it's a lot easier to fork an open source project than launch a new cab company.
Exactly.
A lot quicker, at least. Why does the market love Coinbase listings?
Man, I'm not answering questions about Coinbase listings. Like, we got Binance like 2 weeks ago, and then like the first person like that day is like, well, when Coinbase? And we're like,
I guess we like it because it's American. I don't know. I feel like everybody gets into crypto. Well, at least in the U.S.
In the U.S.,
you get into crypto through Coinbase, and it would be
cool,
nostalgic for us to be there. It's like returning home. Okay. Market crash affected all alts, but Teller's recovering fastly. That's good. Good news. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to skip non-questions now. I think this is a ETH 2.0 question, actually. The staking amount should get higher as more nodes join after each epoch, or however you pronounce that. The staking amount should be updated 2 days after the start of a new epoch or era. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to have to pass. I have no idea. Please refine your question.
Please, share your thoughts, though. Can Tellor confirm real or fake news, or is it just number values only? It's just numerical data.
Just numerical data. Yeah.
But I like how you phrased it as real or fake news. Are there plans to launch a decentralized derivatives platform using Tellor, or any plans to launch or add more products?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stay tuned. Can the team please release a final date for V2? We covered that. When Moon, that I'll leave that to you guys. You guys know more than we do. What do you think of Binance's 50x leverage TRB perpetual contract?
Don't.
Stay away.
Don't.
We don't encourage
Yeah, no, if you're any leverage on crypto is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, you won't catch us marketing or sharing that.
No, slightly disappointed Binance even did that. So
Binance kind of Binance.
yeah.
Who took the Tellor stablecoin bounty?
I think I did.
Did we just take it down?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're moving things around. I'm trying. If you guys want to see more bounties up there, let us know what you guys want to do. They're sort of open. You know, we just take things down if nobody takes them for 3 months, I take it down. So.
Do you sell TRB from the multi-sig once per month or several times each month, or is your approach totally flexible? I would say it's totally flexible.
Totally flexible.
I mean, we try to be consistent and not play the market.
Usually if it runs up a lot, I'll try and sell off some.
Yes.
Just be transparent. I mean, if it runs up, like a lot of times, like if you jump a whole lot in price, you blow through the whole order book, and there's like, I would rather, as we saw before, I would rather go up slowly and then, you know, I want to like have sell pressure, keep it down. Like, you know, because as we've said before, like from this time last year, we've 10x'd.
Yeah.
Like it looks great, but then the charts all over the place. Like if you just had a nice, slow, steady growth, it would look a whole lot prettier, and you don't have people who bought higher and everything like that.
Yeah.
So
everybody who bought at 89 is pissed that we're at whatever it is.
So anyway,
any thoughts on SoftBank stock market manipulation?
No, I feel like the stock market is slowly turning into crypto. It's awesome.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, pretty soon, like the whole stock market, like you're just gonna have Telegram admins and that work for companies, and it's just you're gonna issue stock, and it's all just about how much you can shill what you're working on.
And you guys are all gonna be pros.
Yeah, no, seriously, like you guys are gonna be talking about how you can boost AutoZone's profits by introducing a yield farming scheme for their equity contracts.
Yes. Doing airdrop AMAs.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, this is it's the future.
Yep.
So
anyway, that's it. That's all the questions.
Zoom questions. Okay. Any plans for more layer 2 integrations? Layer 2, layer 1, we're talking to a bunch of them. Any plans to list on Coinbase soon? Pass. What if your coins are in a balancer pool when the snapshot is taken? So if your if your coins are in, say, on a centralized exchange or in Uniswap or on IDEX, anything, that address has the balance. You have to have the keys to, you know, it has to be your balance. So was the team able to capitalize on $90 TRB to increase runway?
A little bit.
I think we sold a tiny amount at some price, but not. No, I mean you guys can obviously look at our multis. We didn't dump tokens or anything like that. No. I think it was at 90 for 10 seconds. How are new hires coming along? Doing some interviews. What is planned for V3? I don't know. I think V3. There's going to be. We're going to kind of have to see how V2 goes, and then also I think a lot how Ethereum goes.
Yeah.
You know, probably like the V2.5, what we've been talking about, which, you know, I think I'm actually going to go over on the tech call some of the issues around it would be, I would love to reduce the stake, and then some other things to sort of incentivize miners better, make it a little bit less risky for them. So yeah, that
We
could
should
be
definitely
good.
address this one. Can you also explain more about TRB integration with Link? So we've been laughing about this, and so this is a confusion here. So there's another project called Tellor with an ER, and they integrated with Link, and whatever news platform announced that news was confused, and they spelled it Tellor with an OR.
And they put our logo.
And yes, yeah. And it actually happened a few times since that other Tellor was launched, and I reached out to them to let them know that these mix-ups were happening. So they're frustrated about it. We kind of,
I don't know. I think it's a link company. Just trying to misinformation.
that's funny.
This is like it's like what Walt Disney did, right?
What does he do?
Well, that's like the whole thing. So like if you, a lot of the movies and the titles in movies and things like that are to prevent you from Googling other things. So like Disney's Frozen, it's like in the past, if you Googled Disney and Frozen, you would see Walt Disney froze his head to be reincarnated whenever technology is there. So they named the movie Frozen, so that way it throws all the Google links off.
Oh.
And then Link, maybe they're doing the exact same thing. Who knows?
Oh,
Now,
so
anytime you Google Tellor,
so
they're just going to have a bunch of fake news
it's
articles.
an SEO attack.
Exactly.
Good thing we don't care about SEO.
All right. Anyway. Yeah. So, okay. So we just talked about that. Can you guys announce in advance when a vote will happen so I can withdraw from the pool? Definitely.
Sure.
So on disputes, we don't
Right.
announce when a vote happens just because they happen randomly and hopefully never. But yeah, as far as upgrade votes, we will definitely let you know. What are your long-term goals for the protocol? Do you think Tellor has similar potential as Chainlink? So for me, the long-term goals for the protocol, we've always built this for something. We were building this originally for our decentralized derivatives platform, and we ultimately are now building it so it can enable other decentralized financial products and other censorship-resistant products. We've always been kind of true believers in the mission of crypto, which is sort of freedom-enabling technologies. And Tellor, along that line, like oracles are just sort of one piece of how we can make that happen. It's definitely a big need for the space, and it's sort of through whether the Ethereum Foundation grant and our work with the derivatives, and then Brenda's been doing data and for her whole career. So all of these things sort of lined up to make oracles a great fit, but really we're trying to do things that can farther these technologies to actually make a difference. So I think Tellor definitely has as much potential as Chainlink. As far as even the core technology, definitely. But then Tellor is sort of much more. Tellor, we're trying to build a community of you guys. We're trying to make this bigger than just a piece of code. The fact that we have this DAO-like structure in there means that we can do so much more with it. And that's what we're really hoping to do. And that's why, try not to think of it as just this is never going to change, or this is all they're good for, and it's never going to move on. There's a whole lot we can do, and as long as we have sort of the available funds to do it, and thank God we have the dev share, and we're sort of blessed to have the freedom to hire people and kind of move along in this vision of creating awesome technologies that we think can actually make a difference. So
I can't add to that. Very good.
Awesome. Yeah. So
why can't we just signal the pool tokens to vote? Because removing liquidity will be bad for DEX volume.
I think some protocols allow you to do that. So you'd have to talk to the specific protocol.
Yeah.
So like some exchanges, for instance, will let you vote with your tokens.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to. That's not on us.
That's on them, and I think they have the incentive to build that feature in. That would be good, that you can leave your stuff on there and vote.
Somebody said, will you build a dApp? maybe eventually. So anyway, thanks everyone for coming. It was a really good call. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Bye.